Please read the disclaimer. Holy smokus, it ain't no jokus. Blackrock just shocked everybody. Plus, Ripple's CEO confirms what many XRP holders were waiting for, and the job report came out and everybody was doing a little bit of a jiggy, but then the market started selling off. What happened there? Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. Let's get into it. XRP is currently sitting at $1.38. XRP had that nice pop up here when the job report came out. XRP popped about 3.5% in 20 minutes, but then the market started selling off and XRP dropped about 4.8% in 2 hours, almost 3 hours, and now it's rallied back. Continued volatility, 2.7% to the upside. This all coming after the job report was good, and we have the Treasury Secretary. You can see we had an expectance of 55,000 on the employment report, and we got 130,000, and the unemployment rate was lower than expected. And the Treasury Secretary says today jobs numbers have exceeded expectations, proving once again that the President's pro-growth agenda is delivering for American workers. January's non-farm payrolls were up to 130,000, with upward revisions and the strongest 3-month trend since early last year. As the economy privatizes and privatizes and reindustrializes, after years of replica government spending, private payrolls were up to 172,000, pushing the 3-month average to 103. And so the markets like this, right? The markets were going up, and you can see everybody was waiting for a weak job report, but the opposite happened, and the markets started going up. But as we have seen lately, the market started selling off, and S&P was down, NASDAQ was down, Russell was down, and also crypto market was down, right? So they all behaved, whoops, that's my background. Have you ever seen it? It's nice, right? The market was, it wasn't just XRP and it wasn't just crypto, it was the whole market did the same movement. So this is the S&P 500, and you can see the NASDAQ did the same thing, popped up and then sold off and now recovered. So there was some shenanigans that were going on here. There were algos that were manipulating, and it could be because the probabilities of another government shutdown just rose to 75% per Polymarket. So are we going to have this every 2 weeks? It's going to be a bi-weekly thing where they shut down the government for a few days, and then they, make a deal, and then they open it up for a few more days. Like, this seems to be what's happening unless they get a really good long-term solution. We'll see. And so this is, again, creating a little bit of fear in the market. Some might say that this was on the fact that there was Trump was meeting with Netanyahu, and maybe there was fear that something would come out of that there was be an attack on Iran or something like that. That could be also the fear that was created here. And when Trump came out and said that they're looking for a deal, so the markets rallied back off of that. That's a possibility as well, because outside of that, I don't know why the market would react poorly and then recover slowly outside of shenanigans that are going on. While I drink my special juice here, it's actually tea, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, right? Also remember that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Very, very important. Today is Ripple Day, right? Or XRP Day, Ripple Day. And we had this headline that came out today for it's XRP Community Day, not Ripple Day. And we had a few things that came out. The first thing was that this came from Ripple saying, we're thrilled to announce that Ripple is partnering with Aviva investors to bring traditional fund structures to XRP Ledger. This marks our first collaboration with a European investment management firm to tokenize real-world asset at scale. By leveraging the speed, low cost, and sustainability of XRPL, Aviva investors is looking to the future of asset management. We're excited to work together throughout 2026 to bridge the gap between the institutional finance and blockchain utility. And you can see the other people saying a genuinely huge moment for XRPL as traditional finance moves on chain. Aviva Investors, the global asset management business of leading UK insurer Aviva, has announced their partnership, right? So we'll see more and more of this going forward. More and more forms, more and more companies that want to get on chain, that want to tokenize their assets, and there's going to be, a big, I wouldn't call it fight, but maybe a kerfuffle between the companies, between the blockchains, who's going to be the supreme leader, right? And so that is going to be very interesting to see. And you see here, Brad was happy about the XRP community day. I tell you the truth, I did not have a lot of time, actually no time today to to listen in while it was going on live. I told you, right, what's going on with me over the past few days. So I've been doing two duties, right? Mama and Papa, right? So I didn't have a chance to see what was going on here, but I saw this clip that came out here from Brad Garlinghouse. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
I want every single person in the XRP family, the XRP army, to know that XRP is the North Star for Ripple. It's our purpose. When we think about what we're doing on Ripple payments or Ripple Prime or Ripple Treasury or custody or RLUSD, this is all focused on how we can drive utility, trust, and velocity or liquidity around XRP and the XRP ledger. So, things like Ripple payments on the DEX with permissioned domains, Ripple Prime using XRP for collateral and lending. Ripple Treasury, we kind of talked about, doing enabled payments around XRP and RLUSD within Treasury management. These are all examples of where we are going to continue to make sure, as we think about Ripple as a platform company for financial infrastructure, that XRP is at the heartbeat of that. You'll hear more about this, some of those specifics from Monica Long, our president at Ripple, later today. This morning you may have seen we announced Aviva Investors, one of the largest asset management firms in the world, tokenizing on the XRP ledger. So we're going to continue to focus on that institutional opportunity. Ripple has decided to partner when it comes to partner or invest or support companies going after the consumer opportunity. But hopefully it gives a sense of kind of where we are with that.
I forgot to turn back on the microphone after I sneezed. So Brad, something that many XRP holders are, I wouldn't say scared, because remember, we don't use that word unless we're talking about, real world things, but concern is that XRP is going to be left behind, forgotten by Ripple, that Ripple is going to have all these nice shiny things, and they're not going to look at XRP as something that they need to focus on. And Brad is like, no, guys, listen, XRP is at the top. XRP is at the top of our priority, right? So to don't listen to the FUD and don't listen to all the people that will tell you that, they don't even use XRP, they don't even care about XRP. No, right? He's telling you straight to our ears, right? Because we don't see him. But he's telling us that this is still their high priority, right? And I told you this, I think last night, if I remember correctly, that their valuation, they're one of the top private companies in the world, just valuation wise, right? Over 60 billion valuation. A lot of that valuation is coming from the fact that they have on their books a significant amount of XRP. And of course, if they ever do decide to go public, right, then a lot of the valuation that's going to come from that, if they do IPO, is going to come from XRP. And if the price of XRP is in the toilet, right, then the valuation will be low. And if it's high, then their valuation will be higher. And then the people that own Ripple shares will profit significantly. So of course they want that to happen, right? If they ever do go IPO, right now they say that they don't need, right? They have enough cash on hand, but it will be very interesting to see going forward into the future, if that ever happens as well. This was very interesting, right? BlackRock announced that they are going to enable DeFi trading of its BUIDL fund via Uniswap and announced plans to purchase an undisclosed amount of Uni tokens, right? And this was very interesting. And the price popped up 40%, but then totally sold off. This is one of these, if you remember, we talked about sometimes when news comes out, there's the initial, all the algos are buying, there's a short squeeze, there's a pump, and then things start cooling off and the big whales start taking profits, and almost the whole 40% thing is gone, right? So again, this is another reminder that we need to be very careful. Sometimes news can pop an asset, but then the news really doesn't have, we don't know how much Uni tokens that they purchased, and we don't know this will probably, how much does this add to the value of the Uni token. So it popped up significantly, 40%, right? That huge movement, huge volume. But since then it's sold off, right? And you see people are like, what's going on here, right? This happens many times when you see maybe they sold, who knows, right? We don't know what happened here. This is a very interesting situation. I don't know why it sold off, specifically. I know I've seen this phenomenon before, right? It happens many times where something goes very parabolic and then sells off, in the hours, following. I even mentioned this, right, on silver a few days ago, right, when we were talking about it. And you can see I was talking about the possibility of it doing something like that and then something like this. And that's basically what Uni did. It popped up and then it did that. This is not the first time I've seen this kind of action. That's why when you see something like this, you have to be very careful. People will run after this and try to catch it, and then they get smooshed in the face by the big whales selling off and removing assets and taking profits. Sorry. So this will be very interesting, right? But BlackRock, let's take this the news for a second and not the price of Uni. BlackRock has made its debut move into DeFi by launching its BUIDL tokenized US Treasury funds on Uniswap. Does this mean that they are broadening their portfolio here a little bit into the crypto market, right? Because the ETFs, they only have Ethereum and Bitcoin. Last night we learned that, or was it this morning? I don't even remember already. That Goldman Sachs has on their balance sheet XRP ETFs, also Solana and Bitcoin and Ethereum. So maybe, BlackRock can be looking at that and saying, oh, maybe it's time for us to, broaden our wings in the ETFs. And you can see Chad says BlackRock is now on the market for crypto directly, not just to buy for their ETFs. The biggest asset manager on the planet is doing this, right? So maybe they'll decide that in XRP ETF, it's time to do so. Maybe they'll do like a Goldman Sachs and actually start buying other ETFs to add to their balance sheet. Probably not, because maybe they would buy their own ETFs, but they don't have an XRP or Solana yet. So I don't know if they would buy another company's ETF. Goldman doesn't have the ETF, so that's why they bought other people's. It would be very interesting to see what happens here, going into the fact that tomorrow we have the initial jobless claims, and then on Friday we have the CPI numbers. Where does the market go from here, right? Bitcoin dropped under the old all-time high. It touched a little bit for a second, sold off. Ethereum back under 2,000, Solana is at 80. These prices, I don't know. AVAX is at $8. Well, we will, right? These are very low prices here for assets that just a few weeks ago were a lot higher. So the question is, what's going to happen here? SUI under $1. Wow, right? It was just over 4, 5 even just a few months ago. So things are coming back down. And it will be very interesting to see, again, are we at the bottom or do we have more to sell off here? Again, I'm not a prophet. I don't know exactly how the market is going to play out. And I try to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I try to give you all the latest and the greatest news. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, now's the time to do so. Ring the bell so you get notifications about new videos that drop. Very, very important. You can be part of the notification nation. Drop a comment, 8 for infinity and beyond. And don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.